Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Discord channel to Elevate Traders, completely free to join. You can join discussions there, share ideas. I share some of my ideas there as well. And you can see what other people are trading, of course. You can share your trades if you want to do that as well. So if you want to join the community, check it out. Links in the description, also at the top of the chat, so you can't miss it. But guys, welcome back to another stream. I hope everyone's doing good. Of course, guys, drop a like if you're enjoying the stream as well, and hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the content as well. It does really help out. But D-Mar, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning. What's up, Ivan? Welcome to the stream. Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. So as always, we'll go through USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, take a look at USD majors, gold, silver as well. Of course, any requests, any pairs, any markets you're looking to trade or just want my opinion on, let me know. Of course, any particular time frames as well, let me know. I mostly look at the 4-hour chart daily as well. But if you're a bit more intraday, let me know and I'll take a look, of course. But first things first, we have the dollar. So USD did see a little bit more strength yesterday, but altogether hasn't really gone too far. But the idea is still the same. USD strength has arrived. We have kind of bottomed out at that low, and I'm looking for this strength to eventually top out and continue in the bearish journey. Now, we've come back to some lows here. Prices really struggled here. We've seen a lot of wicks. Momentum has shifted. So we are now, at least on an intra-week, intraday basis, quite bullish here on the dollar. Now, I've mapped out a couple of areas where I am looking to short, this being one, and this kind of consolidation around 104 being the second area, which I'm probably kind of waiting for price to get there. Based on how price is reacting here, we are slowing down, which is a nice sign. I kind of want to see that deeper pullback into 103.5 because the market will be a bit more stretched, a bit closer to equilibrium, of this kind of bearish swing. So that would be my preferred area. But if things look really good here, of course, I will well, I won't be looking to trade the dollar, but I'll probably get long on euro or long on pound or Aussie dollar, whichever USD pair looks good at that time. But USD is an area which things can get interesting in, and potentially we could look to roll over. Momentum is still with the buyers here, so I wouldn't be looking to jump into any shorts. And of course, price was to continue, well, then that becomes our area of interest. 103.5, 104, and from there, I'll be expecting price to drop if, of course, I see the necessary confirmations for that. But yeah, bullish at the moment. I did say intraday, I think buys still look good, and I still stand by that. If the market kind of slowly pushes down back into an area like this, but we had brief resistance from last week, price, of course, rallied straight through that. If price was to come back and retest that, I do think that'll be a smart place to go long, at least from an intraday perspective, and try and catch a bounce off that area. Maybe price will look to continue from that as well. So it makes sense from a risk reward perspective, makes sense from the location in terms of how we broke through. We haven't yet to come back to test it again as support. So I do like this level 100.8 as an area of support, especially for intraday entries. But in terms of the biggest sell, this is kind of where I'm waiting for price to get to 103.5. I'll see what we can do here, but I'm not too optimistic. But of course, anything can happen, so always stay vigilant. But yeah, dollar is still looking for a bit more strength before some sells come into play. And that literally is the same take for euro. I think there's still more downside for euro USD. I like this kind of brief area of supply from the start of the week, where we had that gap to the downside, price rallied, filled the gap pretty much, or might have just missed it. 99% of the gap was filled, at least, before this continuation. So again, from an intraday perspective, I would say something like that looks pretty good. Pullbacks on the low time frames, come back to test that level of support, around 1.12, and that could be a really nice place for a short. Perhaps on like a 15, at least back to the prior low, and we can see how far it goes from there. But again, in terms of the bigger move for Euro USD, I'm still pretty bullish on this one. Still looking for a price to bottom out and a continuation. And similar to the dollar, a couple of areas where I do like the look of. So the area which we're trading in currently, and pretty much the range here. So again, it's pretty much the same levels I'm looking at for the dollar as euro. Of course, they're very inversely correlated, so the price action pretty much mirrors one another most of the time, and that's kind of the situation we find ourselves in right now. So looking at both of these areas, again, this would be my preferred zone to buy from. A little bit deep over correction, closer to equilibrium of this bullish leg here. So that would be my preferred area, but we'll see what price has in store. If things look really good at this area, I will of course look to buy. But at the moment, we've seen a slight reaction, but this, I would expect it to be a retracement for us to keep falling. Especially if it stays slow and corrective, well then I do think another bearish leg will be in store. So preferably some longs from 1.095 is kind of where I'm situated, or I want to be situated anyway, for Europe for some longs, and perhaps we can swing it all the way back to highs for some continuation. But at the moment, Euro still looks pretty bearish to me, so I won't be surprised for some more downside, and a decent pullback into 1.12 could provide some nicer entries to take advantage of that bearish momentum we're currently seeing. Pound USD, oh, my bad, just hit my cup there. Didn't spill though. So pound USD, same situation as well. Very bearish with this one again, intraday, but long term, I do think there's a lot more upside for pound USD. We failed to break through the highs here last week. We had a few wicks into the zone, 1, 2, 3. So it's a real strong sign to us from a weekly standpoint that the market has had multiple attempts to try and break through this level, but has essentially failed. So the likelihood of us seeing a move to downside at some point in time was pretty high, and we've kind of seen that now. But I do think we can still push a little bit further. I have talked about a couple of areas where we could buy pound USD back up from, this being one of them around 1.31, and this being the other around 1.3. Again, for pound, I kind of want to see a deeper correction with the way the market has corrected itself in this kind of bowl-shaped manner. Typically, these do give bigger retracements or even reversals as well. So I don't want to be too aggressive and get long. We haven't seen much retracement. So again, for pound USD, I would expect us to slowly push higher and then actually go through another sell as well. So I think that could be a nice trade again. Intraday, kind of continue with these lower highs. I think that'll be a smart place on perhaps the hourly chart, maybe even 15, for some entries to take that one down again. And then of course we can see what we can do at these areas. If things look good here, I'll still entice some buys. It has to look really good in terms of rejection. Preferably, I would like to see a deeper retracement before getting long, especially because we are coming back from a pretty big level of resistance as well. So I don't want to buy too early into that. But yeah, I'll see how price action develops, and if things are good, of course, I would ignore that. But at the moment, I feel like this is the best trade at the moment for pound. Some more pullback and then some more downside intraday, and we'll again see what price can do at that support level. Aussie dollar, all the USD pairs have seen a bit of strength. Of course, USD seen a bit of weakness, so we had a bit of a push to the upside there for Aussie, Euro, Pound, but not much really. More so for Aussie and NZD, but again, I'm not really convinced about that momentum as possibly price is going to continue again. I am looking at that continuation, but I still don't feel like the market is ready yet for that bigger move. We've just been recently stuck in this ascending channel. For me, the market still looks very tired, very fatigued, especially since the rally from the low here. I do feel like the market still need a little bit more downside before we do get back on that bullish journey again. So same situation as yesterday, 0.63, 0.62, this kind of zone here, anywhere within there really. I'll be happy to try and find some longs and look for a higher low to take this again back to highs, so on and so forth. But in my opinion, looks like price is kind of just, it's tried to break out of the channel, but didn't really do such a great job at that as we broke back in. Yeah, I'm not convinced about buying the Aussie dollar just yet. It still looks pretty fatigued. I feel like we got a bit more downside to achieve first before buying. Of course, potentially price does rally from here. We're not to know that. But again, the focus is trying to take good setups, high quality setups. And I don't really see much quality there. So if price can drop a little bit lower, That would be great. Take out more of these lows here. That would definitely interest me in a buy. And the USD, this one also came back into a nice area of support. We did have a reaction there as well. So you can see prior resistance here on the left, taking that across. Prices have come back into that level and use that as support. So I'm not as enthusiastic about buying NZD/USD as I am with Aussie dollar, mainly because we've just come from a big double top. Price has been pretty overextended to the upside. We have seen some relief now, but again, I'm not quite convinced. I need the market to be a little bit more stretched to the downside before I do pick some buys, or give me a more developed reaction in terms of, okay, we might push up, come back down again, respect it again. That might convince me that, okay, price is going to turn around. I still not quite convinced there with NZD/USD. I still think the bigger move for NZD/USD is to the upside. I'm still bullish in that regard. But in terms of getting in entries now, I still feel like it's a bit too early. So I'm kind of stepping back from NZD/USD. I'm going to see what happens. This is an area which I do like the look of, but I feel like it's just a little bit too early. So perhaps if we can come back down again, respect it again, maybe get a nice exaggerated wick through that level, perhaps nice double bottom, that would be something that would entice me. And then, yeah, I could look to get along. But I'm still pretty bullish and still looking to take that one higher. Gold, we did see some downside yesterday. This was looking pretty bearish since we last spoke. I believe we were trading. Where were we trading? No, that was from Monday actually. We haven't actually moved much since we last spoke. So Tuesday opened up there, and then we've had a slight rally. But yeah, overall gold has been looking pretty bearish with that swing, but it doesn't really change too much in terms of the bias, because again, we haven't really done anything crazy apart from put a lower high in. So that's kind of our first indication that maybe gold is tiring, but I still like the bias here. I would suggest if we can get back to this high, that would be great, because that way we can take out this lower here as well, and that would be a nice confluence to the trade. Something like a bull flag pattern. So that would be a nice confluence to the trade, push the downside back into that kind of trend line low. And I feel like that would be a nice place for a bounce. Will it get back to the all-time highs? Will we see a big continuation of the trend? Possibly. Those type of moves are difficult to predict, such a big swing. I think in this condition for gold, it's always a good idea to potentially leave positions to run, trail stops on certain positions, because you just don't know how big of a move potentially gold has coming next up, because it might be a swing that just lasts for a couple of days and then we roll over. It could be a swing that takes us back to 3,500, 3,600 new all-time highs as well. So both are pretty likely, especially in this current climate. So overall, still pretty bullish on gold. High trend is still very confidently to the upside. We are getting some red flags now, the fact that we are respecting the high there, putting in some lower highs, but again, no significant break of structure, no real significant bearish momentum either. So I think buys still look good here at 31.60, and a reaction. Maybe not so much of that, but I do expect to see some type of reaction there, and we'll see how far it goes. We'll see how momentum develops there, whether it starts to pick up or begins to tire. And then, of course, you've got your lovely silver, which again, still not a big fan of silver at all, really. I do think longer term price is still likely to take at the highs here and go to 35. So I still think silver is kind of just biding its time right now, but difficult to find some quality entries, to be honest. On the 4-hour chart, this pretty much looks to me like consolidation. So I'm not so eager to be trading inside of this. I did say yesterday that if I was to get into silvers, because price was to have a bit of a sell-off, coming back into support here or support down there, I think these would be a lot more appropriate places to buy silver, pick up some longs where you can look to swing the position. Not a situation where you're just kind of buying for the day, potentially a buy for the week or for the rest of the month, really. These are the type of levels that can give you that swing. So the trend is still up to me. We still had this major swing low, which created this high. Looks like price is respecting support, potentially a big double bottom. So I do think price is going to give us that continuation. But in terms of an appropriate place to swing the market, that's where I have my conundrum. And yeah, right now price action very, very flat. Might be even some selling opportunities here at the high for another swing back down, but I'm just not interested. So if silver can get here, great. 31, I think that's a great place for a long. Also 29. Other than that, I'm leaving silver alone. Just not a big fan of the price action at all. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with silver, gold, and of course the other USD pairs as well. What's up, Tashi? Good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the streams. DT, what's up? Hope you're well. Thank you. I'm having a great morning. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good morning as well. Forex Mastery, do you know that someone can learn from you the way you do your analysis? Yeah, I mean, if you tune into the streams more often than not, you probably would pick up a thing or two about analysis, organizing your charts, finding opportunities in the market. So I would suggest that just kind of tuning into the streams, you will be able to kind of pick up that, to be honest. And again, analysis just comes from practice as well. It's not something you're going to gain overnight, of course, but you can analyze a chart. Anyone can analyze a chart, and then you see what happens. How does price respect your analysis? Does it, completely respect it? Does it ignore it? Well, then you can improve from that respect as well. Again, the key things I focus on is just, highs and lows, trends, key levels in the market, momentum, candlestick formations. I say those are the four main things: candlestick formations, momentum, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs. So the structural swing points, and then just the overall trend direction of the market. Those four things kind of make up the analysis part of the trading. And then, of course, you got the actual trading part, which is finding entries, stop losses, managing positions, targets, which is a different kind of side of things to it. But yeah, stay tuned to the streams, and I would expect your analysis to improve. Kizzy, do you have plans to stream on Twitch, bro? I haven't actually looked into Twitch, to be honest. I haven't looked into Twitch, to streaming on Twitch. I'll have a look into it because I don't know. I need to check if the platform I use can plug into Twitch. I think it can, but yeah, I might check it out. But yeah, I've always streamed on YouTube. J Zone, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Dr. Busy Forex, welcome to the stream. Rocking Boys, what is up? Euro Yen. Okay, we'll take a look. Of course, any requests, any pairs you want me to take a look at, drop it down in the chat. I'll go through my watch list in a bit as well. But yeah, I'll start with Euro Yen. So Euro JPY, again, a pair which I've been looking to short, but is not playing ball at the moment. I believe we just about spiked through the high there, which has made things a little bit awkward for me, because what I didn't want to see was price spike through that high, because it's not essentially a break of structure, because you want to see it close above, but the fact that we are spiking through the high is, again, the market disrespecting that high, really. I don't really want to see that happen, to be honest. So yeah, I'm kind of just backing away from Euro Yen right now. I've been pretty short biased, looking for a swing to the downside, back into the lows here, and a lot further as well. But at this rate, it does look like price is likely to push back to resistance up here at 166.528. So I would suggest that if you're looking to get involved with Euro Yen, I think buys look good. Not at the moment, because we're at resistance right now. If I take that across, this is big resistance in the market. Reaction there. Almost a couple times there, but again over there, and potentially over there as well. So this is definitely resistance in the market. You don't want to be buying into that. But should price rally and break through that, this, of course, would be flipped as support. And I feel like that would be a really nice buy, perhaps on the 4-hour, even the hourly chart, to swing back into the resistance level there on the daily chart at 166.5. So Euro Yen, I like the buys with this one. Let's just completely break structure first. to get that kind of out the way, and then this becomes support, then I would expect price just to continue to the upside. At the moment, we're kind of still respecting the level, but we've already spiked through the high there, so it's kind of invalidated my bearish bias, to be honest. At least in regard to this bearish structure, I still think Euro Yen's bigger move will still be down to the lows, but we might be looking at a big double top here first before that happens. But yeah, anyway, Euro Yen, I like the buys here from an intraday perspective. Yes, we're at resistance. We might still see a reaction, but at this point, because the market's still being very consistent with all these higher lows, I don't expect us to sell off anymore, and especially spiking through the high. So I would suggest that's probably the best opportunity on the for Euro Yen right now. And then, yeah, looking to follow that momentum back into resistance. And, of course, Yen looks pretty weak as well. A quick look at the JPY basket. That is looking very, very weak at the moment as well. It looks like this low here might be set to be taken out as well. And, of course, if Euro Yen's going to do that, well, you're probably going to see, if the Yen basket is going to do that, sorry, then you're probably going to see Euro Yen push up as well. So I'll suggest for the Yen basket, something like this looks pretty good. And then a continuation off the back of that. We've been very consistent with these lower highs. We had the equal highs back over here. Lower high, lower high, lower high. Would be looking for another one in that sequence. Then that I would expect us to take us lower and continue dropping. And that's kind of what I expect with Euro Yen. So more upside looks likely at this point in time, and a push to 166.5, I believe. Yeah, 166.5 looks pretty likely. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro Yen. Ivan Pansichev sell. Okay, we'll take a look. Looks like price rejecting support. Resistance. Okay, I'll have a look. See, what's up, Yusuf? Good morning. Hope you're well. Mohammed, pound JPY, top of daily channel. Okay, we'll have a look as well. I'm doing good. Yusuf, thank you for asking. Hope you're well. J-Zone, Euro USD, no problem. Take a look. Maybe Fancy Chef can drop to the W support again. Okay. What's up, Manzondi? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. So I'll go through Pound CHF first, and I'll take a look at Pound Yen. So Pound CHF, I'm not that enthusiastic to be selling this one, to be honest, just because I'm not a big fan of the way price is moving. It's very, very weird, to be honest with you. I would kind of mark this as a big consolidation. You've got support there. Of course, you've got the big wick running through the area, but this is kind of where the body's kind of stopped. And then price test it again and price test it again. And of course, you've got resistance up there too. So the way I see it, the market is very, very flat right now. So I'm not, in these conditions, I'm not really looking to try and call tops and swing highs and swing lows because it's not optimal. When we do have a trend in the market, trying to think of a good example here. It's not the best market. I mean, if I zoom out, there's an overall bearish trend. So when the market is in this kind of state, then highs are but become a lot easier to predict and a lot easier to catch as well. When the market is trapped in the range, especially in the middle of it, that's when things get a little bit difficult. So I do agree, price is coming back into some support, which of course is going to be flipped as resistance here. So I think it is a smart place for a short, but I wouldn't hold into that trade for too far. You can see with the way price is moving, we had this big drop. Price had this very, very prolonged retracement, which lasted like 6 months, July 24 to April. I said 6 months, that's almost a year. So it took us a long, long time to see the continuation of that move. So I wouldn't expect us to suddenly gain momentum now and continue back down. Judging with the way price is moving, I wouldn't be surprised if we go through another kind of prolonged move before we do see a continuation. Even if we do see a continuation, price might even push back to resistance. So I wouldn't be looking for something like this. I think that's a little bit too optimistic. Yes, price is coming back into a solid level of support, which again could be acted as resistance and we could see a move down. But I wouldn't be looking to try and take the trade any further really than support here, but I would make sure that I look to even book profit here. That's kind of the way I'll be looking to try and trade pound CHF right now. We've come back into a nice level. We've taken out some highs here, so any kind of previous stop losses above there would be taken out. That perhaps could naturally give us a move back down, which is great. But as we come back into this area, 1.104, I would be looking to book profits, at least move stop loss to break even so there's no risk on the table. And then maybe looking to cash out if you can get back to support. I just find it hard to see price coming back here so quickly, given what the market just did. So, yeah, I do agree, pound CHF coming into a nice level of resistance. We've obviously reacted with it quite nicely as well. So it looks like price is stalling and perhaps is going to get ready for a move to the downside. But I would be cautious as we get back to 1.104, managing the trade that way, and then perhaps maybe 1.094 as a target. So I would expect price to make that kind of maneuver. Yeah, I like the momentum, but just judging how price has moved like that, I don't think it's looking optimal. So yeah, I hope that made sense. I'll go through pound yen next. Maybe pound CHF can drop to the W support again. Oh, okay. So are you referring to that level as well, 1.104? Because for that kind of W pattern there, which is double bottom there. So yeah, I would agree with that as well. So if you're looking for that, yeah, I think that makes a load of sense there. I think that makes a load of sense. Because you're not looking for anything too crazy. You're kind of trading within reason, which is a big part in trading. You don't want to always shoot for the moon. There are times where you do want to shoot for the moon, but there are times where you want to be quite conservative. And I would suggest with the way price is moving for pound CHF, this is definitely a market, at least in this situation, where I wouldn't want to shoot for the moon back to the lows. Back to these areas, I feel like makes good sense there. So that's the plan there with pound CHF. We'll take a look at pound yen, then we'll go through Euro USD next as well. Kizzy, what's the most amount of money you've lost in a single trade? Yeah, I'm not going to share that information. That's not important information, Kizzy, for you. I share my trades, I share my entries, my stop losses, and my targets. But yeah, that's only information for me and my broker. But in terms of pound yen, this one has. I can see what you mean by in terms of getting to the top of the channel, but I'm not so optimistic that we do respect it and make our way back down, because I do think at this point in time we might see price go and take through the high. I mean, if we can get a strong rejection at this area, great. I'll actually still be looking to take some entries, because technically we haven't actually broken through structure yet. This is still our last swing high, which gave us this swing to the downside, of course. So technically speaking, as long as price stays below that high, I'll be looking to short it still. But if price was to rally and break through that, well, then of course we've got a breakout on our hands, and probably at that point the market's going to push back to 199.6. So I wouldn't be bearish anymore, but I am still just about bearish for now for pound yen. But I'm being very cautious. Like I said, I had a look at the yen basket. It looks like the yen basket is about to can't spell there. It looks like the yen basket is potentially about to continue to sell off as well. So unless I see a crazy reverse or a crazy rejection to the upside, yeah, I think the yen basket is going to continue down. If the yen basket does continue down, that means more weakness for yen, and of course that will likely take pound yen higher to the upside as well. So yeah, it is coming back to the edge of the channel, so I do agree with that. It is naturally a good place to sell. This is not a place where you want to buy for sure, unless of course price does break out, then that would be a bullish signal. But yeah, it's in a nice place where we could form a low high, could come back down. It's just about monitoring price action here now, and then yeah, that would make up my mind if we can sell off or not. So yeah, I'll go through your USD next. But yeah, pound yen is in a nice place to sell. I'm not that quite confident because I think yen weakness might still continue. I could be wrong with that, so of course keep an eye out for it. But yeah, if we continue to rally, maybe see a strong close again today, yeah, that invalidates the opportunity. But perhaps if we see a strong rejection maybe this afternoon, then of course that would change things. But my advice is just keep an eye out, and the market will tell us what it's likely to do next anyway. Yusuf, what's your take on gold? Okay, we'll have a look at gold as well. Currently looking for the longs at 32.46. Already I have a short position in it. Okay, 32.60, targets 32. Okay, I'll go through Euro USD first, and I'll go through gold for you. So in terms of Euro USD, yeah, so in terms of Euro USD, I still do like the longs with this one. Longer term, I do think price is likely to continue higher. I'm looking for a push back into 1.156 and a lot more upside from that point. So the plan is just about where can we possibly find some longs to take this back to the upside, because I'm looking at this as the impulse, this is the correction. Now I'm looking at potentially another impulse back to the highs and possibly even further as well. So I've mapped out two areas where we could possibly see that continuation happen. This is the first area, that's the second area. And yeah, I'm going to monitor the price in those areas respectively. I do kind of prefer price to come back to this area, 1.095, slightly deeper correction. Market's going to be a bit more stretched to the downside. It'll be closer to the equilibrium of this bullish swing as well. And it'll just be an area which I'll be comfortable to hold a trade in for potentially a few days, few weeks even, if things go in my favor very well. But yeah, at the moment, Euro USD still looks pretty bearish to me. I still think USD strength is still here. We possibly could see a bit more of it as well. So I think a nice kind of slow corrective pullback back into an area like this on like the hourly chart. I feel like that would be a really nice place for a short and a continuation, at least back into the lows. But I do think we can go a bit further. So yeah, Euro USD from an intraday kind of intra-week perspective, I do think more downside is likely. Something like this, just trying to catch the next lower high in this sequence, pretty much, and then catch the next drop. But the bigger move for Euro, I still think is to the upside. So yeah, once we get back to some of those areas, see some rejection, double bottoms, shift in momentum, then I'll look to go long and hopefully we can swing that back to highs. So that's the plan there for Euro. In terms of gold, I'm guessing you're on the 15-minute chart, Yusuf. Currently looking for the longs at 32.46. Already have a short position at 32.60. So somewhere around there. I'd imagine your stops above the high. So you got short 32.60. My target is 32.46. 32.46, which is about there. Okay, not too far away from your target. Looks like we probably will see that hit. We were speaking about some shorts yesterday for gold around this area. Was it you that requested it, Yusuf? Because I remember I was looking at gold on 15 yesterday. I feel like it was you. But yeah, the market's been pretty consistent with these lower highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and perhaps 5 as well there. So I would like to, if I was looking to trade gold on the 15, it would be shorts I'll be after. Longs, I can of course see why price come back to support. We are starting to form some higher lows here. We've got one low. Now we formed a higher low. Perhaps we could form another one as we approach this area here as well. Yeah, that could be a nice area for price to tap into, react and continue. So I do like that area for a buy. I would say 32.40, 32.30 between those prices. So that kind of gap there. Looking for longs at 32.46 1. So you're looking for longs as you approach the high here. Yeah, I don't mind that. I preferably would like price to retrace a little bit deeper before looking to long. I know this is a retest of the high there, so you got the high, price is broken through. You're expecting the retest before continuation. So I think that makes sense, but just because of how big the move is and how big the retracement we got last time, I would still wait for a slightly bigger retracement. So 32.40, 32.30 would be the areas I would look at personally for some longs. But yeah, I think longs look good. It's more of a counter trend move. Momentum isn't in your favor, so it is more of a counter trend play. So you have to be a bit more cautious with those. But the sells I do really like. Price came back into a nice area of supply. You can see we dropped very aggressively last time we were here. Prices tapped back into that again and reacting pretty nicely there as well. So I think the shorts looked very good yesterday. It looks to be playing out pretty well. But yeah, we'll see how far this goes, because this, of course, could be a continuation for price to continue falling and continue that bearish trend there. Or it could be a situation where we're just retracing to form a higher low to continue higher. But preferably, I would wait for a slightly deeper retracement, just taking in consideration how price is moving. Yeah, if the trend was a bit more aggressive, then I wouldn't mind about taking shallow pullbacks because the trend is aggressive. But if it's more kind of relaxed and we're seeing pretty deep retracements, well, I'm going to be looking for a deep retracement as well. I wouldn't look for a shallow retracement when I'm seeing pretty deep retracements in the market. I wouldn't be trying take a break and retest of the high here when I can see the market has pretty big retracements. I'll be looking for, again, another big retracement to get involved, because that's simply the condition of the market. If we are pushing very aggressively to the upside like so, then yeah, you would look for a little bit more aggressive entries and more shallow retracements, because that's what the market is doing. So it makes sense to be looking for more aggressive entries and shallow retracements. But for that bullish structure we just mapped out, the market was having a pretty steep retracement. If I drop back to the 15, so there's your low, and then the market has retraced all the way there before continuing. So I would wait for a similar kind of pullback again before continuing. So that's kind of my take. But yeah, I like the shorts there. Nice position. No problem, Ivan. Happy to help. Happy to help with J-Zone. No problem. Do we have any major news? Yeah, we do have CPI today. I forgot to mention that. So yeah, CPI 130, I believe. Let me go double check. I'm pretty sure we've got like yeah, CPI 130 for USD. That's 1:30 UK time, by the way. Tomorrow is pretty calm. There's not a lot going on tomorrow. No red folder news tomorrow. Thursday, we got Aussie unemployment rate. I'll keep an eye on that. GDP for pound, keep an eye on that. Unemployment rate for Euro, GDP, I'll keep an eye on that as well. Retail sales, PPI, USD. So it spices up again a little bit on Thursday. Nothing major. Again, the major news events I'm looking at is NFP, Fed interest rate, CPI. Yeah, any kind of interest rate for a particular currency I'm looking to trade. I say those are the big ones. I'll keep an eye on. The other ones I'll keep an eye on too, but I wouldn't do any precautions. Then we got yen GDP on Friday, early hours of the morning. So yeah, today CPI is definitely one to keep an eye out for. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. So yeah, I feel like I might have missed the New Zealand CAD long entry this morning. Yeah, price is looking pretty bullish. I was talking a lot about this yesterday, about the double bottom, and I got the entry signal on this candle here, but it closed at 6 a.m. and I wasn't up by then. And by the time I got up, price was already pushing to the upside. So I was like, the entry would be a little bit late. I was hoping this candle can kind of retrace a little bit so I can get my entry in and around that area. It doesn't have to be spot on, but if I can get my entry there, and then of course look for the targets back to high, but I'll be looking at the high over here as the target for the trade. I mean, the risk reward wasn't great on the position. Even if I did get the entry, we're looking at a 1 to 7.4. I would still take the trade because it's still a good setup. But again, I don't want to be taking these type of trades consistently. I want to be looking for slightly bigger risk rewards on average, but it doesn't mean I can't take a smaller risk reward opportunity from time to time. It's not going to affect my trading that much. So yeah, ideally risk reward wasn't particularly great, but yeah, I did miss the entry there. Perhaps we still come back down again. We are still coming back into an area of supply here. I don't think it would be totally crazy for us to see another push down, to be honest, so I will keep an eye on that. But yeah, I'm still very bullish on New Zealand CAD. I do think we can rally here. And yeah, and push back into resistance and probably break through as well. So I still think NZD strength, Aussie strength is still going to continue. Rachel, good morning. Hope you're well. No, I wouldn't mind taking a look at dollar CHF. Dollar CHF is actually a pair I'm looking to trade as well. I'm looking to short more so than buy, although I think there could be some nice buys as well. But I think the bigger move is still very much with the sellers. So basically, this is the monthly chart, and I know it is a big time frame, but the monthly, again, it's not necessarily I'm going to the monthly chart just to see what price is doing or look for an opportunity. It's just that is the current trend in the market is very, very bearish. And we're at a situation where we could actually be looking to push back into the low here. So from a monthly perspective, I do expect a lot more downside. We've had that big drop last month, April. So I think we're going to probably retrace a little bit before we do continue. And I've got a couple of areas where I'm looking for price to retrace into before we do continue with that move. So you got this zone and this zone where I do think price might steadily push into before we do continue. So if I drop back to the daily chart, the plan for dollar CHF is looking for a bit more upside into those areas. Study price when we get there, look for signs of reversal. If things look good, hopefully find some shorts. And again, same with the idea, same with the level just above us as well. In the meantime, however, though, I do think there could be some nice longs because we've just seen a really nice breakout of this range here. And of course, that has left behind a really nice tidy level of resistance, even a gap there as well. So we've got another reason why potentially price can go and tap into this level, fill the gap as well before continuing. So I actually think this is a nice trade to keep an eye on for some longs to take advantage of that retracement. Like I said, I think the bigger move is to the downside. I'm very bearish long term with USD. So Euro buys, Pound buys, Aussie buys, New Zealand buys, dollar CAD sells, dollar CHF sells. So I am very bearish on USD itself longer term. But for potentially the next few days, maybe next week or two, I think USD strength is still likely here to stay. So dollar CHF, impressive break to the upside, left behind a pretty clean level for a buy. If we can make it there, I think that's a sensible place for a retest to take to the upside before looking to sell again. So yeah, pretty bullish here for dollar CHF as for now. Looks like price has just managed to climb back above these major lows here as well. You got one massive swing, a second massive swing there as well. Looks like we're now comfortably above that. So again, that would be a nice confluence for the trade. But longer term, I do think we are set to keep selling off. So that's what I'm looking at longer term. But next maybe week or two, I think the buys are the best bet. So that's where I'm at with dollar CHF. It is a pair I'm keeping a close eye on. Canute's Pound USD. We'll take a look for you, no problem. Yusuf, if you don't mind, can you analyze Pound USD 15? Okay, do you think It's a head and shoulder pattern because I was looking for shorts, 195.358. Okay, I'll take a look at pound yen in the 15 for you. Rachel, do you think CPI news today will bump up USD today, or not enough to really matter? No, CPI is a pretty big event. Of course, news can be big, it can be small. Not every CPI is going to cause huge moves. Some CPIs will barely budge the market, a few pips, to be honest. Same with NFP. Some NFP events will give you like a 20 pip move, and that's about it. Some NFP moves will give you a potentially 100 pip move and then start a huge trend for the next 2-3 weeks. It's difficult to say what's going to happen because normally we're kind of waiting for the result, and then if it's a big difference between the result and what people expected, then that can cause real movement. So we have to wait for the result to actually see, okay, potentially this might be a big move here. But in terms of what I'm expecting, I'm still looking for more dollar strength personally. I don't think the dollar buys are quite done yet, so I'm still looking for more upside. Can CPI potentially give that for us today? I think so. Yeah, I do think so. I think we can see some strength today from CPI. How much strength? I don't know. That's the question. Only we'll know after the news. So I do think we can see a bit of strength from CPI today. I wouldn't go and trade that, by the way. That's not me saying go buy CPI today. Absolutely not. I'm not looking to do that myself. But yeah, I would expect some strength. Maybe, yeah, I would expect some strength, but it could potentially be a short-term move down before the strength comes out as well. So be prepared for that. But yeah, in terms of how much of an extent, I don't know. It could be a big one. It could be a very small one. In terms of pound yen 15, so yeah, I'm still bearish on this one, but I'm relaxing in the bias because I don't expect it to hold. There's a situation where technically my technicals are still pointing down. You can still see we're operating within this channel. Market's still putting in lower highs, 1, 2, 3, perhaps 4. So we're still confined with this bearish structure, and the sells still very much can happen. I've had a look at other yen pairs. I've had a look at the yen basket itself. It doesn't look like yen strength is about to come into the market. I could be wrong with that. And if I am wrong, that's great. There could be a really nice short for us to take this back down there. But again, I find it difficult to see that happening. So with GJ, I would guess more upside could be the likely push. On the 50-minute chart, you mentioned a head and shoulder pattern. I see what you mean with the left over here, the head over there, and possibly the right shoulder over there. Personally, I wouldn't be looking for that. I mean, I like how corrected we are. So it kind of gives the impression that, okay, we've seen some momentum, price is now back at supply. We could actually see a push down. So I would suggest, yes, that does make sense, but I would say this is more of an aggressive trade. Reason being, momentum is definitely not in your favor. The market is very, very bullish here on the 15. So taking any type of sales will be obviously going to be a bit more of an aggressive trade. I would suggest if we could see maybe a big rejection, a big bearish engulfing candle, maybe a big wick, that could be a nice entry for the trade. Again, doesn't mean it's still not counter trend. The market's still to the upside, but if we could see a strong rejection, that would definitely increase the odds of a swing back into lows. But yeah, I probably wouldn't try and take it past that point there, to be honest. Until I start to see some confident bearish structure in the 15, like a confident swing back down, then yeah, I wouldn't mind to take some longs, some shorts there at that point, because now I can see, okay, market structure has shifted, we're forming lower highs. There's a good chance there's more of that. Right now, it's a bit more on the aggressive side of things, but yeah, if we could see a strong rejection, I feel like that would give the trade a lot more confidence, a lot more confidence for it to play out. If of course we continue to rally through the high as well, that would invalidate the setup, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's a more of an aggressive trade, I would say. More of an aggressive trade. Again, when you're looking for head and shoulder patterns, trying to get in on the right shoulder is always a more aggressive trade because nothing's confirmed yet. This trend can still very much continue, there is no indication of reversal. Only once the right shoulder has formed and we've broken through the neckline, that's technically when you've got the head and shoulder pattern, and when the most probability that price will continue falling. So again, there's no right or wrong to trading, because if you do wait for this opportunity, well, sometimes you don't get it because maybe price does break the neckline but doesn't give you the retest. So don't actually get the opportunity to find that entry, or you might do, but it's a lot further down than you originally expected. And of course, the con side of the right shoulder is that it's a bit more an aggressive trade. And again, the right shoulder doesn't necessarily dictate that the head and shoulders is going to form. We could very much continue, and the trend continues as well. So a bit more aggressive, but the beauty of it is if you get it right, you're positioned up higher. Your risk will be better. You can catch the reversal a little bit better as well. And of course, the pro of this is that it's a bit more of a safer trade. But yeah, I can see the sense to that. I would wait for a really strong rejection to indicate that, okay, that level is holding. Otherwise, I would be quite cautious with that, to be honest, just because momentum is very bullish. So on the 15, I wouldn't really want to be going against that until I can get a strong indication that we're about to sell. Pound USD, almost forgot about that one. Let me go take a look. So yeah, Pound USD, same kind of analysis as Euro. Basically, price come back into major resistance. We've had a lot of wicks to the upside, 1, 2, 3. Market's a bit stretched from this swing here as well, so it was kind of in need of a pullback a little bit. We've had a kind of nice head and shoulder pattern here. You got your left head, right shoulder. Price is kind of rolling over in this kind of bowl-shaped manner. So it does, to me, look like we'll probably see more downside here for Pound USD. Long term, I'm still pretty bullish, but I do want to see a bit more retracement. I'm looking around this 1.3 area as the place where I kind of want to buy from. I whipped out a fib from the low to the high. And this is kind of where I want to pick up some longs, 1.3. I did speak about this level here, but I'm not a big fan of the way the market's retraced, and I feel like it's a bit too close to the level for my liking. So preferably, I would like to see a bit more downside for pound before I do jump into some longs. But in terms of a setup a bit more in the now, I feel like Pound USD shorts do look pretty good. We're seeing some really strong bearish momentum. The key thing is we're seeing consistent lower highs now. So I'll be expecting another one to form. And I would suggest that this looks like a nice place to wait for a pullback into. You've got support there, will be flipped as resistance. And of course, you've got a lovely area of supply. Price stalled here for a few hours before dropping to the downside. We could see more of that momentum come back into the market if we can come back and revisit that area. So all in all, Pound USD, lower time frames, probably some entries on the hourly chart. I feel like it is a very smart trade to the downside, just trying to pluck another lower high for a short back into the low. I think it makes a load of sense. If you're bullish on this one, still want to take some buys, I would wait for a lot more downside first. Bit more retracement, wait for the market to be a bit more stretched to the downside. Come back into some key areas, and then we can start to speak about some longs again for pound. But at the moment, bearish market. I think USD strength is still likely to come into the market as well. But yeah, first I want to see some retracement before we do continue. So that's basically my outlook there for Pound USD. I think we could still see a lot more downside. And that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of the USD pairs. I think USD strength is still on the cards here, so I'm still expecting a bit more dollar strength before we can get to shorting that. No problem, Rachel. Happy to help. Good to hear that you found it useful. And yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Hit the bell as well, so you don't miss out on any uploads or streams in the future. Check out the Discord channel. Free to join there. Post some of my analysis and my setups there. I'm looking to trade. Other people do as well. So if you're interested to join the community, check it out. Free to join. Links in the description to that. But I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed to the channel. Yeah, it does help push out the content, so I do appreciate that. But yeah, in terms of the dollar, I am still very much bearish longer term. The idea is that we've had a massive drop there. Of course, the past few months, I'm looking at a correction of that. before perhaps we look to continue. I'm looking more so at this 104 area as an area which we could push into, find resistance, and then sell off. So that's why I'm kind of expecting more dollar strength, because I think there's more retracement to be had, especially with the way we're reacting without these lows. Yeah, I don't want to keep shorting into that. We've already seen a very major rejection off that low. So I do think more upside is likely. And then perhaps we can start to speak about some longs again. But for now, USD, especially with the way things are setting up as well, I feel like this is a smart place for a buy. So if you could see the dollar kind of slowly push down, I know we've got CPI today, so that makes things a bit awkward. We might kind of just explode to the upside, to be honest, this afternoon. Might not even see that retracement opportunity. Or we could see CPI drive us lower, then we push up again as well. That could be the play as well. But in terms of the technicals, still seeing a confident uptrend here. So dollar for me, still looking bullish, and more upside is still very much the play. In terms of the yen pairs, I have been pretty bearish on the yen pairs for a while, but I've been backing off, like I said. Pound yen, I just don't see how this one does roll over unless yen becomes very, very strong from absolutely nowhere. I feel like pound yen is probably set to break to the upside now, but I will stay alert to it, because again, I could be wrong with that. I will be looking for opportunities in this area. At the moment, things are still looking very bullish on the 4-hour chart. Trend is still, didn't mean to do that. Trend is still looking like it can see a lot more upside. So for me, I need to see price push up, maybe a big wick through the zone, a big strong bearish engulfing candle. That could potentially interest me for a short. And I need to see something on the yen basket as well. Other than that, I'll leave it alone, because we might just break structure and continue to push. So yeah, make or break area there for pound yen. As for some of the other yen pairs, they're getting to some significant areas as well. If I go to New Zealand yen, for example, so again, if I zoom out to the daily chart, you can see overall we've had these lower lows and lower highs in the market, and now potentially that is at threat. If price does break through the high here, well, technically that's a break of structure. Not in terms of the larger structure, because technically speaking, what's going on here? Okay, don't know what's happening there. Because technically speaking, we've got a massive high here, and of course this is the high that gave us the swing to the downside. So technically speaking, this is our last bearish leg on the higher time frame, and price could potentially pull back anywhere within here and possibly continue back down again. So I'm not writing off my longer term bearish bias for New Zealand yen, but in terms of the more immediate bias, if we do manage to take up the highs here, well, after that, I do think retracement and upside is likely at that point. So this is kind of what I'll be looking at for New Zealand yen. So again, kind of shifting that bias from bearish to bullish there. Perhaps we still get those bigger sells, but after a more prolonged bullish phase there. So New Zealand yen spike through the high there. Well, I think those buys look good. Shortly afterwards, Aussie yen, similar situation as well. This one's a little bit further away, but I think we're in the same situation. Price taking out that high as well. Again, the major swing high is still over here. So technically speaking, this is our bearish leg. We can still pull back anywhere within here before continuing. But if we do take out structure there, I do kind of expect us to push through, pull back, see some more upside. So a retest of that high, as well as filling that gap, I think is still a very smart trade. So yeah, yen pairs still looking very, very bullish to me. Difficult to take any shorts. Difficult to take any shorts. And if you can get some pullbacks, I think there'll be some decent longs. What's up, Lebsy? Yep, still bullish on New Zealand CAD. I feel like I might have missed the boat with that one this morning. Yeah, I'm looking for a re-entry after the break even. Yeah, if so, what levels interest you for a re-entry? Good question. Well, it was the double bottom possibility, but I feel like the market might have left me behind. It may still come back down, so I'm not going to write it off completely. But basically, this is where I got long. Was it last week? 1st of May? No, that might be the week before that. So yeah, I got long there. Of course, taking out break even. So now the plan is for price to retest the same zone, because my stop loss hasn't been threatened. You know, my stop loss is placed underneath a level which I expect to hold, and so far it's still holding. So the trade is still valid. Just my entry itself got taken out of break even. So if I could still see price reject this well, that would still be the idea of the trade, to get back in a similar area, stop loss in a similar place, and of course pretty much have the same target as well. So in terms of which level I'd like to re-enter from, it would be pretty much the same area, but basically now looking at this as a double bottom. Price came in once, respected it twice. Now I'm looking for a push to the upside. So that's kind of why I said potentially I might have missed the boat this morning, because we did technically come in for a retest kind of as we ended for yesterday's daily close. We tapped into that zone. Then the early hours of the morning, we did get a very strong reaction from that. So that could have been an entry for me. But yeah, when I woke up, price was already pushing to the upside there. So I kind of missed the boat with that. But we still may come back down, so I'm not going to write it off. And the risk reward wasn't looking too particularly great there either. The original risk reward back to the high, I was looking around the 2.5, 2.6. Now we're looking at 1.5 there. So I wouldn't mind, to be honest, if price can push down, perhaps give me a better entry where I can at least increase it to a 1 to 2. Anything more would be great as well. But yeah, that's kind of really where I want to position myself long for New Zealand CAD. I'm still pretty bullish on NZD and Aussie. No problem, Kenu. Happy to help. But yeah, with New Zealand CAD, it's just very awkward this morning with that reaction. So I do need price to come back down if I'm going to get a re-entry. But a lot of Aussie and NZD pairs, I do think we can still see upsides with those two particular currencies. But of course, pound NZD and Euro Aussie and Euro NZD, I do think there's downside for them. Yeah, I didn't really find a good entry for Euro Aussie either. Bit difficult because it's kind of just been slowly dying to the downside, to be honest. This was on the watch list, I believe. Yeah, last week. This was on my watch list last week. I was looking for the retest of this zone here. We've got these prior swing highs, 1, 2. I was looking for a third one. So yeah, I was looking for price to push into that and then sell, but we kind of got this price action last week. Then we gapped down and we're looking pretty bearish instead. So it looks like I might have missed the boat with that one as well. In fairness, it never came to my level, so it's not a situation where it's a missed trade. It's kind of just, yeah, an unfortunate that price just never got to that level, because not necessarily I did anything wrong. It's just price never got to a place where I wanted to find an entry. But anyway, that would be in the place I would look to take a short. But again, I like selling this because I'm expecting some Aussie strength coming to the market. I do think we're a little bit overbought for Euro Aussie with this massive bull run. I do think we can come back and test some of these levels here. Looking at 1.7 there for Euro Aussie. Euro NZD, I'm looking at a similar situation as well. We've had a massive swing to the upside. I do think price is likely to come back and retest resistance here. I've got that at 1.84. Pound Aussie, similar situation. Coming back into some of these areas, 1.995, so basically 2. And of course, pound NZD as well. I do think this one can come down. We've been in this kind of ascending channel for quite a while now. I do think it's time that price takes a bit of a breather, and we do go for a bit of a drop there as well. So those kind of crosses, I do think there's a lot of downside to be had. But just looking for entries really, which is always the tricky part, because you don't want to enter too early, you don't want to enter too late. But then again, you don't want to be too worked up with entries, because if you have too much fear of entries or you worry too much, of course you potentially miss out on the move. And as long as you're risking a sensible amount per trade, if you do get into the trade a little bit too early, you get stopped out, well, you can always look to re-enter, especially if you're looking for positive risk reward opportunities and slightly bigger ones like 1 to 3 plus. You can afford to take a loss to potentially take a win. It doesn't have to be catching it perfectly every time. That'll be very difficult to do. Pound CAD 1 hour time frame. Pound CAD was on the watch list at the start of the week. It still is, to be honest. It still is. It might still pull back into my zone. I'm pretty bearish on Pound CAD. I'm looking for a really big swing back into support down here. In terms of Pound CAD on the hourly chart, I think the hourly looks not great, in my opinion. So it's like a big mess, really. I can see that, of course, prices come back into some resistance there. We're respecting pretty well. Maybe we get a bit of a sell there, but nothing I would be optimistic about. This is very, very choppy price action. I would stay away from this. While I'm looking on the 4 hour chart is a push back to resistance up here, because that way I'm kind of away from the noise. I can get a stop loss above the highs here. Basically, the idea for Pound CAD for myself anyway is that we're still forming these lower highs, 1, 2, and perhaps a third one. So if price can rally back to resistance, respect it, well, I would expect us to keep selling off. If, of course, price rallies back to resistance and breaks through, and of course takes structure here as well, well, then we're not probably going to continue anymore. We're probably going to push back to highs. So I'd rather position myself right at the high, right at the top of my bias, basically. So if price was to stop me out or take out my resistance, it's probably that price is not going to continue my direction anymore. So it gives me the best possible place for an entry in terms of being positioned very, very well. And also making sure that I'm going to give myself the best chance to catch a big swing as well. Because if this is going to sell off, well, how can I try and get in right at the top, or as close to the top as possible? And waiting for price to push back into resistance there would justify that, will do that job. So yeah, Pound CAD on the hourly chart, not a big fan of, to be honest, Ahmed. I feel like price action is very, very flat here. Again, not to say that you can't get a winning trade here. I'm not trying to say that you can't get a winning trade, because you can get a winning trade anywhere. But in terms of clean conditions, in terms of finding a clean setup, I'm not really seeing that really with Pound CAD, with the way price is moving. It's very, very choppy. I'll just mark that as a range. And if it is a range, well, the only two places where I want to get involved at a range, right at the top or right at the bottom. So that would be here. I suppose if I was looking to buy, then I'd wait to see if price can push back to support down here and try and catch along there. But in this area, that's where the maximum indecision happens. So yeah, we might catch a reaction, but I would suggest as soon as we come back to these areas, locking in some gains just in case we decide to push up. But from a 4 hour perspective, I do think there's a big swing to be had. I mean, from a weekly perspective, I feel like this trend again is hitting a bit of a top. We've taken out some major highs to the left over here. We've been bullish since September 2022, and the market has just been rallying to the upside since then. So I feel like now we're pretty stretched. Now we are likely to see some downside pretty much, especially after taking out the major highs there too. And the fact that we've been firing a lot of wicks to the upside, not really seeing much continuation as of late as well. I feel like that will help fund the move down. So yeah, Pound CAD swings look good. Intraday, not so much. I would stay away. I've also been keeping an eye on EuroCAD as well. It's partner in crime. This one has been a little bit cleaner. I mean, overall, the market's still pretty chaotic. You can probably still chalk that up to consolidation as well. But in fairness, we've been pretty consistent with these kind of ranges, if you will, sideways channels, slightly ascending channels. Price has been pretty consistent with them. and has provided some nice sells as well. So as you can see, nice drop, consolidation slash retracement. Another drop there, consolidation slash retracement, another drop there as well. So we've been pretty consistent with that. And I do think with EuroCAD as well, we're likely to see a lot more downside too. I do think EuroCAD, we can come back and retest this zone here, which is at 1.52. Again, EuroCAD has been very, very bullish for a while. And in my opinion, it does need a bit of a correction. It's a bit overextended. You can see last month's candle left a bit of a wick to the upside there, especially with the month before that. So March, we had a bit of a wick to the upside. April, a bit of a wick to the upside. I do think we're going to top out in this kind of area and push back down into support, where again, we could still very much continue to the upside. I'm not writing off the uptrend by any means, but I just do think it's time for some retracement. And perhaps we can take advantage of that as well. So again, for EuroCAD, if we're going to continue these highs, we might go through another kind of weird correction before the drop. I'll probably keep an eye on the retest of this low here for price to test that again, 1.56, and then the short. But what I can see is that we're very consistent with these lower highs. So my expectation would be another one, another push back down there as well. So overall, very bearish for EuroCAD, very bearish for Pound CAD. New Zealand CAD and Aussie CAD I'm actually quite bullish on. Not so much Aussie CAD, I don't like the price action, but New Zealand CAD I'm pretty bullish. I do think we can still see price rally there. So that's what I'm focused on. What's up, Antonio? Welcome to the stream. Good afternoon. Thoughts on crypto? Do you mean crypto in general, or like Bitcoin's price action right now? Yeah, what do you mean thoughts on crypto? Is it like a general thoughts on crypto, or are you talking about maybe Bitcoin's price or what's happened in the last 24 hours? I believe Bitcoin has seen some downside, hasn't it? But it's still very bullish as a whole. I think we're still likely to push to all-time highs. I'll go through that now. Ahmed, this morning the market is sideways. True, maybe CPI will come and a lot of volume. Yeah, we tend to see that sometimes when the bigger news events come into play. There is sometimes we do see the market kind of dry up a little bit. It's mostly down to anticipation. People are getting ready for the news event. Potentially taking positions off to potentially re-enter then. That's when they're going to expect to see excitement, volume come into the market. So it's like the quiet before the storm, if you will. And yeah, that's a good spot there, Ahmed. That could be the case. In terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum as well. So yeah, Ethereum has been very, very bullish since last week. But yeah, Bitcoin still looking very bullish to me. I know we had a bit of a drop there yesterday with that last daily candle. So we've seen a little bit of downside, but it doesn't change anything to me. I'm looking at this as a whole, and BTC to me is very bullish. Very high chance of us pushing back into the all-time highs there at 108K. And I would say pretty high chance of seeing new ones as well. So Bitcoin to me looking very bullish. I said yesterday this would be a smart area for a buy. Will we get there is the big question. I have no idea. I would also suggest that we potentially could form a bit of a double bottom. There is a lot of momentum in the market. We're not seeing much retracement. We had a bit of a rally here. That kind of moves sideways. Another rally. That kind of moves sideways. Another rally as well. So altogether, the market is not retracing much. So perhaps looking for that pullback there is asking a bit too much from Bitcoin, but maybe a double bottom like this is a nice kind of, it's not such a big expectation. Price to form support, retest it again before continuing. Of course, this would be my preferred area. If price can get back to 98K, I feel like that would be a great zone to long from, where you can probably hold that to all-time highs and beyond. But I would also suggest that this looks like a nice opportunity. 101K, come back, respect it. I feel like that would be a smart place for an entry. and take that back to the highs and beyond as well. So Bitcoin still very bullish. All-time highs, I think, are likely going to be taken out, and see some new ones as well. Not seeing any red flags at all. So as a result, I think Bitcoin is still on a one-way ticket back to the highs. Ethereum, very impressive momentum, very, very impressive. This one's been looking like it's been beaten up very badly and not seeing any kind of sign of recovery until last week. Very, very strong push to the upside, strong close. It hasn't done much damage in terms of the scale of things. You know, this is still our last big bearish swing. We've kind of only retraced about a third of that move, to be honest. If I whip out the fib from the high to the low, yeah, not quite the 50. So it hasn't raised much, but it's a sign of momentum coming into play. And if Bitcoin is going to push back to the all-time highs, you expect Ethereum to probably push through as well. In terms of where we could buy Ethereum, I probably would keep an eye on this daily zone here. Of course, that respected support pretty well. Now, of course, you probably be acting as support again here at 2200. So I would say with Ethereum, if we could see price push down into this area, I feel like that would be a smart place for a long back to the highs. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. I'm not that convinced about potentially Ethereum's on a bull run back to highs and we're going back to all-time highs. I think eventually, yeah, we'll get there, but it's very difficult to say that we're about to go through that now. There's not really much indication. We've broken structure to the downside. We shattered through that trend line there as well. Ethereum's got a lot of work to do if we are going to keep pushing back to highs, but impressive momentum, a nice correction, and a continuation makes the most sense. But yeah, I've been looking at some other cryptocurrency markets as well. XRP has seen some upside. Nothing spectacular, but we have had a nice push there. Again, all-time high is still back at 3.345. So overall, it's still in an interesting area and still in that retracement mode. XLM has seen a nice push to the upside as well. Again, I wouldn't say anything crazily spectacular with the move to the upside, but it is a sign that momentum is picking up, and perhaps we're getting ready for a more continuation there as well. So I think crypto, as long as Bitcoin continues to push to the upside, gets back to all-time highs, that of course will be a bit of a bullish signal for other crypto markets. Smaller cryptocurrencies, I feel like they'll rally as well. And it just depends what Bitcoin does at the all-time highs. Do we spike through and come back down? Do we continue to rally through? And that will really set the season. If it's going to be very bullish for the cryptocurrencies or just another small rally. But yeah, Bitcoin, I do think we are likely to continue pushing. So very, very bullish on that for now. In terms of the other indices, so Bitcoin's up. Of course, NAS, we looked at this one yesterday. That was looking very bullish. We did go and get the close there on the daily chart, pushing through the high. As you can see, very confident close there. We did have that gap in the market, so there's still a reason we potentially could see some downside in price and go and fill that gap there before continuing. So there is definitely that at stake, at play. And I think that would be a good setup for NAS, to be honest. If we could slowly push down, respect support, I feel like that would be a smart place for a buy. In my book, I don't really see much stopping now, NAS 100, S&P for that matter as well, from getting back to the all-time highs. I'm looking at this market as a whole. We've broken back above the 200 moving average. We've broken back above the swing high to the left there. I would only expect more upside now and then push back to the all-time highs. Weekly chart looks like price basically just respected the high here and now is ready to push through. So yeah, I'm actually very, very bullish here on the NAS. I said coming into the week, this area will be make or break. If price does respect this, perhaps we get a nice kind of breakout of this channel. Maybe that could be a nice sell signal. On the flip side, if we continue through the zone, continue through the high, that's of course a very bullish signal. And by default, I do think we can continue to rally. And there could be some really nice pullbacks and retest to trade here. So NAS 100 looking very bullish. S&P, same situation, I believe as well. Yeah, strong close above the 200. and of course a strong close above the supply level there on the left. So not only are we breaking structure, we're breaking above the 200, and again, the 200 is always a good metric to use for the major US indices. A lot of people do look at it and pay attention to it. If price is above the 200, we're bullish. If price is below the 200, we're bearish. What's up, Lauda? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Emanuele, what's up? What do you think about the tariffs cut? Again, I feel like we're going to see some strength for USD, to be honest. I feel like we're going to see some strength for the dollar. I feel like things are going to calm down soon and come to a bit more of a peaceful climate. So I do think start to see a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like gold's still going to be bought as a whole, but maybe we're going to go for a deeper correction now. Maybe silver as well too, but I don't know. Silver's got a bit more fundamental uses, so maybe not as much silver, but maybe a bit more gold. What's up, Lebsy? I feel like New Zealand CAD is still going to drop down further and violate the low around 0.815. Okay, there is a weekly inversion to the downside. That price might look to rebalance. That could be a case as well. I mean, if it does push down further, well, that will give us a better entry for the buy, to be honest. So I wouldn't mind that, to be honest with you. If we were to push down, and come a little bit lower, then that would be great. Again, we may do that, we may not do that. It's just about being patient and finding your setups and waiting for the market to come to you. If price does come back down, I'll still be looking for re-entries. Like I said, I'm still very much looking for the double bottom here. If price respects it, great. If it doesn't respect it, well, I'll stay on my toes. I kind of like the zone here as well, for price to potentially turn around there too, which is around 1.812, 250. If we can get there, I think that would be a nice place for a buy there as well. But I'm very, very bullish on New Zealand CAD. Reason being is that we've got this big V-shaped pattern at play. So there's your sell, there's your buy for the recovery. Now I'm looking at this as the correction and looking at the continuation there. So that's why I'm looking to long, whether it's going to be a double bottom here or maybe slightly below it, because price might takes through the low, might come back and test that support level. Of course, that's up to price. But in terms of my expectation, I do think price can still look to rally there. But yeah, we might push down still. Again, with being a trader, it's not about predicting exactly what price is going to do, because again, that's very, very much impossible to do that on a consistent basis. What you can do is though, come up with a bias, which way the market is likely to push into, then come up with an area which you want to look to position yourself long or short to trade that bias. If you're bullish in the market, well, where do you want to enter? Where is a good place to enter the market? You find that place based on whatever confluence, based on whatever strategy, and then it's simply a waiting game for price to get there. And that's really trading in a nutshell to me. And of course, you got to manage the trade in terms of exits, in terms of for a loss and for a win. That's of course a vital part of trading too. But in terms of the analysis and the actual entering part of trading, it's about come up for bias, come up for area which you want to buy it from or sell it from, of course. We're back to waking up and buying the stock market. Yeah, I guess we're back to that climate as well. No problem, Emanuele. Happy to help. But yeah, I mean, when the market's in that kind of condition, Antonio, it's a good day for anyone who's doing the wake up and buy situation. But I feel like it is that situation, to be honest. I feel like it is that situation. Although the funny thing is, I can't remember who said this. Tom Hoggard. I don't know if it was himself or someone else did a study for the S&P 500, but they looked at the data for the candlesticks in terms of if a day was bullish, what's the likely chance that the following day would close bullish as well, and if a day was bearish, what's the probability that the following day will close bearish? And I think the probability was like 50, I think it was like 51 or 50.6% chance that if the day was bullish, the next day would close bullish over like a big span of data, like I think since maybe like 2000 or something like that, even more. So the likely chance of price being bullish and then being bullish again the next day is actually more or less 50-50. So when you kind of have when you have that in mind, waking up and buying isn't actually probably a profitable move. Of course, when the market's very, very bullish for that kind of short period of time, yes, but as a whole, it's probably not a good way to trade the S&P, because on average it's actually 50-50 if we're going to be bullish or bearish, which is quite ironic because the S&P only pretty much trends to the upside. Of course, it will have bearish cycles, but it's quite eye-opening because a market that is as bullish as the S&P has a more or less a 50-50 chance of being bullish or bearish. So with that information, that's where strategy comes in. Even when the market is very bullish and it feels like just wake up to buy, it's not actually the case. No problem, Yusuf. Have a great day. Right back at you. Appreciate it. No problem, Lebsy. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much have the same bias there for New Zealand CAD. So if price can come back down to some areas of value there, I'll be looking to pick it up along as well. And that's a big if. We might not even see that happen. We still got this kind of supply area to our left here on the lower time frames, so that could potentially bring us back down. We've got this swing and that swing. Perhaps price starts to stall here and come back down, and that might give us the buy. If price does rally through this, well, I don't see price coming back down from that point, so probably won't get the trade at that point. But we'll see. I mean, again, the entry I missed wasn't particularly amazing. Risk reward wasn't particularly amazing either, so I don't mind missing on that opportunity. If it does come back down again, well, then I'll be interested and hopefully can get the better setup for that entry. But yeah, in terms of my watch list, it's changed quite a lot since the start of the week because we've had a lot of gaps at the start. We had a lot of sudden movement, especially with the USD pairs as well. So I've had to pivot. Yen pairs as well, being very, very bullish. I've been looking to short a couple of them, pound yen, euro yen. Of course, they haven't been playing ball, so I've had to pivot. Pound yen still just about is on the watch list just because we're still just about respecting that area. I'm not going to take it off the watch list until it's well and truly broken through. Even if I think it will, I won't take it off the watch list until I actually see the setup be invalidated. It's still very much in that bearish area, bearish territory, if you will. So I'm looking for selling opportunities here, but I do think we'll probably just rally. But we'll wait and see. Euro yen has spiked through the highs, so I'm not interested in selling this one anymore, at least at the current price. I know it's still at resistance, but because we have just about spiked through the high there, it's technically invalidated the setup for me. So I do think Euro yen is likely to push through as well. So I'm not really interested in getting involved in Euro yen. In terms of the USD pairs, I really like USD CAD shorts. I really like USD CHF shorts as well. So dollar CAD, I like the zone here. I like the zone here as well. Let me just take it in a little bit. So I like both of these areas for some short opportunities. We're not too far away. Again, preferably I would like the further opportunity. So if price can push back to 1.415, that would be my more preferred area to short dollar CAD from. But if things look very good here, I won't turn it down as well. I'll see how price reacts and how it develops at that level. Things look very good. Yeah, I'll take a short, of course. But again, the expectation is that I'm expecting another lower high to form. We've got one over there. We've got a second over there. Well, now I'm looking for a third, either of these areas, and then the swing back into support. And that will be the plan for dollar CAD and dollar CHF. Basically the same idea pretty much, which is we've had a big drop, looking for a pullback of that for more downside. 0.86, 0.875 are my levels of choice for that short. At the moment, still want to see a bit more upside before I still, you know, I do get the shorts, but yeah, the bigger move I do think is a big sell. So eager to trade that. Aussie dollar, I like the buys with this one as well to take this to the upside. Really nice zone just below us at 0.625. If we can see a drop there, that'd be fantastic. Looking for entries to again swing it back into resistance and probably further as well. CHF pairs not really interested in, to be honest. I mean, I still think Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF got more upside to give. Price action is becoming very, very corrective. And I'm struggling to find some good entries to get involved. So these pairs, I'm going to probably just call it a day. What's up, Alex? Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Can we take a look at oil? Of course, yes, we will. ACK, thoughts on pound CHF? Yes, we'll take a look as well. We buy dips, of course, Antonio. That's a much better way to look at it. You know, I think a great strategy for the S&P is buying times of fear, because you've literally got 100%, at least so far anyway, 100% recovery rate for the S&P. Every time we've had a dip from the high, prices always come back to the high. So that's powerful information, because no matter how low we go in the past, prices always recovered. Of course, there's time, you know, potentially could recover in a month, it could recover in 2 years, you know, that could happen as well. But we've always come back. So when things are fearful, when people are panic and selling positions on the S&P and times are fearful, that's the time basically to buy. And then that's a great strategy within itself. In terms of accuracy, probably not, because you could buy in times of fear, but that fear could last a month, it could last 6 months, so price could still drop against you. So it's more of like a long-term play. Of course, in terms of pinpointing accuracy and stop loss, that comes down to a technical analysis. But in terms of just like a fundamental edge in the market, buying in fear, potentially selling in greedy times, is a great strategy to kind of use for your trading. And then of course, then it comes down to your technicals, and your confidence is what triggers you into a trade. But I think that is always just a great time to buy. Anyway, in terms of oil, so oil, yes, we saw a bit of upside. Oh, we did leave a bit of a wick there. I was expecting price just to rally through that zone, but we didn't quite do that. So oil, we have respected this zone to a degree. I'll probably wait to see what we can do on a double top, because if we can push up again and respect it again, well, that now becomes a nice selling opportunity to take it back down again, perhaps back into resistance here, which of course will be acting as support. So I was expecting us to actually break through that supply area, but no, price respected it very well. It was a nice reaction. Did see some nice momentum there again, but I want to see price come back and show some more evidence of that happening again. So another push back into resistance, another strong reaction. Now that could be a really nice sell opportunity there for oil. If not, again, 66 is still ready and waiting for us. It's such a big level. I still think there's a good chance price gets there, to be honest. If we can push back to 66, I think this is a really smart place to be looking for a short from. And either which way, if we were to sell off from here, I think it would be a big move to the downside, back to the lows here at 55 and possibly beyond. And if we were to recover it and use it as support, I still think that's a great place for a buy as well, back into supply there too, and possibly further as well. So either which way, I think there's a good trade to be had here for oil at that particular level. But at the moment, for At the moment for oil, I like the zone here. Prices start to respect it, so I will keep an eye to see how that develops. It looks like we probably will push back into the high anyway, so we'll see how price reacts. If we see more momentum there, especially in the 4-hour chart, I feel like that's a nice double top for a short. If, of course, we rally straight through, well, then 66 becomes our area of interest. But yeah, doing a pretty good job at respecting that zone. This is, of course, a nice supply area on the daily chart, which gave us that rally. We're basically in that level again. We're going to see if price can respect it or not. Pound CHF, not a big fan of Pound CHF. The way it's moving, I'm not a big fan of how it is moving. If I zoom out here, it took us a whole year to see the continuation of this drop before we had that continuation there. So it's not a situation where I want to be jumping into Pound CHF with the expectation that price is suddenly going to continue back to the lows here. I think that's a little bit optimistic. I feel like we might go through another prolonged correction. It might not last as long as the one over here did, but I feel like we're probably going to go through some type of corrective move. So yeah, it has come back into some nice structure. Of course, price support, ton of resistance. I think this is a sensible place for a short. And as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I wouldn't be looking to try and take it past the low here at 1.09260. I think that's a nice place to short the market into. I like the high here, prior resistance. This will be turned support. I think that's a great place to book some profits, maybe move a stop loss to break even. But I'm not optimistic that Pound CHF is going to give us a clean swing anytime soon. I feel like we're most likely going to go through some weird corrective phase. It might eventually give us the move down, but I feel like that's still potentially a few weeks away from happening, judging with how the market's moving. I don't see us selling off straight away. So yes, it's at a nice place for a short, but be cautious. Got some levels there we can respect and take some profit from, and then we can call it a day there for Pound CHF. So yeah, that's my thoughts at the moment. In terms of Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie, so Euro Aussie I've been particularly bearish on, looking to short, but I don't feel like I'm going to get an opportunity with that one. This was the setup I had in the watch list last week, so I was looking for price to come back, revisit support there, revisit the trend line. There's some nice confluence there. Hopefully try and capture the next lower high, then swing it to the downside, because long term I think there's still a lot more downside for Euro Aussie. I do think we can come back and retest this support level here now. Of course, we had a massive break through that. I do think price now is likely to push back into that zone. Pound Aussie in a similar situation as well. Massive rally to the upside. I do feel like price is likely to come back into resistance. We also took out the COVID highs as well. We did that a while ago actually, but still I think the market's quite stretched now. So I do feel like now because of that, we can see Pound Aussie have a bit of a drop here. So I do think there's more downside to be had, to push back into resistance. Even just a push back into this area is still quite far away. So in terms of a short opportunity, I would say if we can push back into resistance, that would be a nice place for an entry, because basically right now, Pound Aussie is consolidating. This is to some degree a bit of a weird consolidation right now. So I wouldn't be trying to get entries in this area, but if we could rally back to resistance, well, that becomes a smart place for an entry. We're back at resistance, you can put a stop loss above the high, and you can look to take some shorts off the back of that as well. So 2.03, I would suggest that would be a smart place to target, even just to push back into the lows. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You got resistance there once, twice over there, and then we can push that back down into support there like that. I think that's a smart move to be had. But yeah, for Pound Aussie, Euro Aussie, I do think more downside is likely. I think Aussie and NZD are likely to gain some strength now. They've been very bearish for quite a while. We have seen some strength in fairness, but I think more of it is to come. But for these crosses, Euro Aussie, Pound Aussie, Euro NZD, Pound NZD, I do feel like we can still see some more downside. So I'm bearish with these ones. I know the trend is up, so this is a bit more of a counter trend move. But based on where we're situated, based on the highs we've taken out, same thing for Euro Aussie, I believe. I think we took out the... Oh, no, we didn't with Euro Aussie. It was Euro NZD. Euro Aussie is nowhere near the COVID highs, but Euro NZD just about spiked through them. These were the COVID highs, and you can see we just about pinched it. So again, I mean, even for this one as well, I do think we're likely to push to the downside as well, come back and test support, which is at 1.85. So yeah, pretty bearish on them, Form some nice lower highs here. I do think price can continue falling. This is our previous low. I don't see price bouncing on that and turning around. I feel like we're most likely gonna break through that, and that's gonna take us to the downside. So again, that kind of feeds into the bias with like New Zealand CAD. I'm pretty bullish on that one, trying to take that to the upside because I'm backing NZD strength. Just need to find an entry. NZD USD. Not only am I pretty bearish with USD itself longer term, but I'm pretty bullish on NZD as well. As we come back to levels like this, I do think we can bounce and see some upside there as well. The only thing I don't like is the double top. It just puts me off the trade. I'd rather we have that kind of single high, then pull back, rather than the price forms the high, respects the high, and then comes down. It's never really a good setup there for me to be buying back in towards. So that does put me off the trade a little bit. Doesn't mean we can't push up, of course not, but when Aussie dollar looks a lot cleaner, I'd rather just put my eggs in that basket and focus for some entries there. So yeah, looking for a bit more downside back into 0.63, then hopefully we can find some entries a little bit further down for some trades there. And then hopefully take that back into resistance. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the crosses. Yeah, I feel like in terms of the risk reward, it's decent, but I'm just struggling to find some entries. I mean, Euro Aussie was the better one, but I feel like I'm not going to get that entry anymore. So yeah, I probably missed the boat there. Pound NZD maybe. I was looking to see if I can get an entry back here, 2.26, but we just missed that last week. Then Monday we had a little bit of a bullish move. I was looking to see, okay, maybe we might push there, but it looks like we're struggling. And again, we could still push there. We're not too far away before we push down. So that's the more reasonable trade for me, because I like the levels, a nice strong 4H level. We're not too far away from it. If I do get an entry there, the risk reward looks pretty good for a price back into support there. Probably can get at least a 1 to 2 back into support there. And I do feel like this one has a pretty big drop in store. It's been corrected for a while, not sustainable price action. Normally when we're moving in this ascending channel, it's a sign that price is getting ready to drop, and probably pretty hard as well. We took out COVID highs a long time ago, so I feel like we're due a bigger correction since then as well. So I do feel like pound NZD is it's a smart pair to look to short. Despite the bullish trend, it makes sense. And the way I'll tackle it, I'll find some entries up here, hopefully. Nice double top pattern. So I'll look for my bearish engulfing candle. Be nice if we can wick through the zone as well. Targets will be back down at support there at 2.217. I feel like that would be a smart place to take some profit from. I'll at least go to break even at that support level. And then I'll leave positions to run as well, because with the counter trend play, you don't know how far it can go. It could just be a push back into support before we turn. It could be a situation where we completely dump. So I'll probably look to trail and then look to target these lows as places to book profits. You know, just if I can book maybe 50% there and close another, 20% there, another 20% there, and maybe leave a little bit left to run to hit the lows there, which of course would be a massive trade if I was to hold full position. But again, if you do look for those big trades, full position, you just give yourself the opportunity that price could very much turn against you. There's nothing wrong with that, looking for the bigger trade, of course. There's nothing wrong looking for the bigger risk rewards, 1 to 10s even. But you just got to be prepared that, okay, if I'm looking for a 1 to 10, a lot can happen between my entry and the target. So be prepared for some nice profit, and then that profit disappears. And be prepared for having a lower win rate, just because maths, if you're going to have a big risk reward, price has to go very far to your targets. Well, you're not going to expect to be winning every time. You know, you might catch some nice entries, price might rally in your favor, but will it keep going for 10x? That's a different question there. So your win rates, of course, can be a lot lower, but that's the idea. You can have a lower win rate, but you'll be making up for that plus more with the big risk rewards. And you only need a few of them per year to make your year in trading as well. There are times where I look for big risk rewards, like potentially a 1 to 10 as well, but it'll be a few times within the year. No problem, Dima. Happy to help. And of course, it will have to make sense too as well. It's not like I'm bored, so let me try and push for 1 to 10. It has to make sense. A bit like the pound yen idea right now. If I was to get an entry here, which I don't think I will, but let's see if I was to get an entry here, stop loss like that. Well, a push back to the low here is a 1 to 8, and it makes sense to push to a 1 to 8 as well. If I zoom out, look at the channel, well, if price is going to form a lower high here, well, then you would expect us to get to the low of the channel. So this push actually makes sense. I'm not trying to force a 1 to 8. It's not like I'm trading here. I'm trying to push to a 1 to 8 there. Of course, it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to short the lows and trying to go for a big risk reward. If you're right at the highs, you've got the flexibility for that bigger push. So it makes sense to go for the big risk reward there. So when I get these situations where risk reward looks good, it makes sense for the big move, well then, of course, I go for it. But most of the time, yeah, it won't be that case. Which again is fine. Because again, you only need a few of them per year to really make really good progress in your equity. Aussie CAD on the 2 hour. Not a big fan of Aussie CAD. I like New Zealand CAD. But of course, like I said, New Zealand CAD, I'm pretty bullish on that one. So by default, probably would be bullish on Aussie CAD as well. And we do have somewhat of an uptrend here as we grind higher, but it's just not the best place to be buying, which is my main conundrum. You can see this is a massive area of supply. We had a really big move down. This is not a place where I want to be buying the market into. We might still rally through this and break through. That could be the case. But I don't want to be the person who would anticipate that with a trade and then just see price push to the downside. And it's kind of like, that's not the best place to be buying. If price can push down back into support down here, well, that becomes a much better buy, because now we're back at support, back into areas of demand where potentially a higher low could form. Maybe got some nice trend line confluence down here as well. And that becomes a nice area to buy, at least back into resistance anyway. This is clearly where price is struggling. You've seen first test, second test, third test. Now there again, a fourth time. So clearly price is struggling at this area of supply. Doesn't make any sense to buy there, but should we push down, it gives us a chance to potentially catch a higher low. Like I said, maybe price still does rally through this. Well, you can probably hold on to the trade from here and try and anticipate a swing like that happening. So yeah, for Aussie CAD, I'm pretty bullish on. Not a situation where I'm looking to try and trade and take advantage of it. The New Zealand CAD looks a lot better. There's no kind of major area of supply I'm trading directly into, so the trade makes a lot more sense on New Zealand CAD, and I'll just focus on that one. But again, if New Zealand CAD is going to rally and my analysis plays out there, Aussie CAD is likely going to rally as well. And the best opportunity I see to trade that would be a push back down into support here, into this nice area of demand. We do consolidate, nice rally to the upside. We've got some trend line confluence there as well. Probably take out some of these minor lows here too. There might be some nice stop losses here. Take them out of play, and then potentially we might rally from there. So that's something I'll keep an eye for Aussie CAD on the 2 hour. If you're looking to short the market, well then yeah, we're also in a good place to short as well. But I don't see us selling off big time. So this again still looks like a nice place to short, but I wouldn't try and take it past this low here. I'd probably look to secure some gains there, then secure gains here, and probably even call it a day. So if you're short bias, yeah, still a nice place to short as well. But looking to call it a day around 0.884, where I said buys look good, but even the lows there, looking to lock in some gains. And the reason why I wouldn't look for a big sell is because, yes, we've had a big move, but the way prices retrace isn't a good sign of a continuation. The way that prices smash into support, rejected it very well. To me, this is like a market that's going to get ready for a pretty big push to the upside at some point. So Aussie CAD to me isn't something I would look to sell. And of course, Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, even Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, they're all kind of in sync with each other. They kind of do move in the same way. And it looks like they're about to be bullish. Aussie yen, New Zealand yen about to rally to the upside. I feel like New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD is about to rally to the upside. And Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, again, about to rally to the upside as well. So trying to position myself long for any one of those opportunities. I think Aussie dollar longs, New Zealand CAD longs, probably my favorite of them. But yeah, just need price to come a little bit lower for both of them. And hopefully find some entries off the back of that and take it to the upside. But yeah, I might have missed the boat with New Zealand CAD. I have to wait and see. If it does come back, great. If not, on to the next setup. So I'm not too worried about that because there's always another trade around the corner. Warlords, please do Euro USD. Okay, so yeah, Euro, I am looking for some buys soon come with that one. At the moment though, I feel like short's the best bet. I'm still seeing some really nice bearish structure, lower lows and lower highs. So I would expect more downside for now. I do think we can still see very much a big move to the upside. I think the bigger move for Euro is a big swing back to the highs and probably further as well. I do think we can see some more downside here. We've had a lovely swing to the downside here. I'm looking for a correction, tap into this area, another low high, then again another drop. But as we approach that consolidation just below us, I feel like this is a very smart place for a long. Basically, I'm looking for this as an impulse, correction, then another big impulse to the upside there as well. So I'm looking for price to continue after that as well. But yeah, for now, for Euro USD, I feel like if you're looking for an intraday opportunity, your best bet would be some pullbacks into this area. So 1.12 I'd keep an eye on. If you're looking to buy, if you're looking for a big swing trade, well, this is kind of the range I'm looking for the buy. And the DXY, I'm pretty much looking at the exact opposite of that happening. So DXY expecting more upside. I think CPI can give us a bit of a rally there. And then once we start making our way to this range, I feel like that's where we can start to slow down, maybe put some double tops in and possibly look for a big swing to the downside and yeah, continue back to the lows and further. So that's my take for Euro right now. And that's kind of my take on a lot of USD pairs. Still looking for a little bit more strength. We'll see what happens with CPI in about an hour and 30 minutes. But I think we can still see a bit of strength from CPI. And then perhaps some nice selling opportunities maybe next week or even the week after as well. I think for now, buying the dollar is still a good bet. I think dollar CAD as well looks pretty good for some longs. If we can pull back into this area, I feel like that's a smart place for a buy. Don't get me wrong, I'm still looking to short it longer term. You know, these are still ideas I'm looking to short, but if we do push down first, well, that's a nice buy back up again. You know, something like this. And then look for the sell. So that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs, and a lot of the USD pairs on the watch list as well. So we'll be keeping a close eye on them. But we have come up to the end of the stream, guys. So I do hope each and every one of you have found it useful, enjoyed the stream. If that's the case, please be sure to drop a like before you do leave. It does really help out the channel. And of course, make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well. Helps get the channel out there as well. So I do really appreciate that. Like the content, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders. You can join the Discord, share ideas there which you're looking to perhaps take. I'm sharing ideas myself, setups I'm looking to trade myself, chat with other people, see what other people are looking to trade. So if you are looking to join the community, check it out. Links in the description and also at the top of the chat. But guys, I really appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Leave a like before you do leave. It does really help out. Thank you to everyone who has. I will be live again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. Watch out for the CPI news. That could definitely cause some movement in the market. How much we'll have to wait and see. CPI can be a big mover, so be prepared for that, especially if you're intraday. I'll be a bit cautious. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. I'll catch you all in the next one.